Good morning, good afternoon, good day. Welcome to my weekly market roundup, 11th October 2020. Please let me know if you can hear me and see my screen. Hi Jeffrey, good morning. I hope you can hear me and see my screen. I'll continue. I am Sagar Nandi. I used to work in IT. I retired now. Now I am swing trading using Q systems and techniques. You may contact me using my email ID tradingprofitably@gmail.com, my traders forum sagarnandi.com, YouTube channel Trading Profitably, and Twitter handle Sagar Nandi. I regularly share live stock and market analysis on these channels. They are open to the public and you are most welcome to make use of them. Disclaimer: this demonstration is for educational purposes only. I am not an investment advisor. It is not a trade recommendation. Trading involves risk. You and only you are solely responsible for the outcome of your trades. This is a market roundup, but I have not prepared for it other than creating a few charts from QA. We'll look at it together using the systems I use, that is Q Elite and Q Global for technical analysis, Q Vital for fundamental analysis, Q Edge for sector industry rotation analysis, and Q Index for market analysis. I will also introduce a new tool that I developed today. It is similar to Q Diary, a tool not for logging trades but for converting symbols from ticker symbols that you see in brokerage platforms or IBD or HSI, from that to the Q symbols. Q symbols meaning Refinitiv or Reuters symbols. Earlier I used to use monitor, that is icon monitor for that. Some manual work was involved in doing that. Several Q traders asked me if there was an easier way, and I was thinking about it, and I have developed a tool. I will share that. Let's start with the tool. Why not? This is Q symbol. It has two columns. As in all the Q Zenith based tools, the checkered green background cell means those are editable. You may enter something. And the other cells are auto calculated. As is the custom color in all Q Zenith based tools, the yellow background means it shows status information. Like the other Q tools like Edge, Vital, Index, Diary, there are pause and play buttons. Currently it is in pause mode, that is why the status is off. If I click the play button, it will start streaming on and there is an error. Okay. Now status is on. Now if you type a ticker symbol, let's say I'm typing IBM, it is signing me in, not signed in, signing me in, and now it is sending multiple requests to Refinitiv to find out the Q symbol, which is the Refinitiv symbol. And for IBM, the ticker and the Refinitiv symbols are same. If I try with Facebook, then it is retrieving again. The red background means it has not found, and after some processing it has found that Q symbol to be FB.O. What if I try small case? Let's try FB in small case. Again it is requesting Refinitiv multiple times and finding the symbol. If I try Baba for Alibaba, it is again sending the request and finding the proper symbol, in this case Baba.N. If I try it with ETFs like USO, it is still able to find the corresponding symbol. How to use it? Let me clear the data by clicking the eraser button here. And now I may type the symbols here, or I may paste the symbols here, values only, on this first column. However, instead of right clicking and paste values only, you may use the paste button. This paste button does some additional calculation, and let me demonstrate. Let me go to Q Sonar and let me drop the, let's say, NASDAQ 100 symbols. So I dropped the NASDAQ 100 symbols in radar. Let me pick up randomly from AAPL to AMD. What I am doing here, I am highlighting them, AAPL to AMD, and copying them. Control C, or you can right click and choose copy. That is copying the ticker symbols. Now if I go to Q symbol, I am able to paste using right click paste, but the proper way will be to use the paste button here, this one, and see what happens when I click that. It is getting all those symbols, ticker symbols, in the first column, and it is trying to retrieve data, and at the end of the exercise it has found 9 symbols corresponding to 9 ticker symbols. If the ticker symbol is invalid, let me just randomly type something, then it will show that it is attempting to find, but it didn't find, so it is remaining in red color. And you can see number of Q symbols find is 8 for the 8 ticker symbols, because one ticker symbol is not a valid symbol. Let me erase it. How to use it is, you may find your lists from HGSI, from Q Elite, on TraceStation, from IBD, and you may copy it and paste it using the paste button. For example, in Q Elite there is a scan. The last scan you can see here, stocks with liquid options. This list can be generated from Q Elite but not from Q Global, because Metastock doesn't have the detailed options data. I ran this scan today to find out the stocks with liquid options, and I found this stock. So I want to create a list of these stocks in Metastock and also Q Vital. So I'm clicking the first row symbol AA, scrolling down, shift click the last row ZUO, and you may right click copy or press Ctrl C. Once copied, I am coming to Q symbol and press the paste action button. It has got the 227 ticker symbols here. If I go back to TradeStation, there were 227 rows. So it correctly retrieved the ticker symbols, and see, after some processing it has found 100% match. Some of them are with same symbol as the ticker symbol, like the first one AAA, some with .O, some with .N. And not only that, if you go further down, you can see RDS.A, symbols that have A shares and B shares. Even for them, Q symbol is able to find the proper symbol. While I did that, it also did something else, and let me show that. Let me go to Q Sonar, clear the radar, and type some symbols like IBM, AAPL, say Tesla. 4 symbols, but 2 symbols are duplicate. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to select all of them, copy or Control C, coming to Q symbol, and instead of right clicking and pasting, I am clicking the paste action button. I don't have to clear, paste will automatically clear and restart everything, and see what happens when I paste. Two things happen. First, the duplicate is automatically removed. IBM is only once here. If I go back to radar again, I typed IBM twice. Another thing you may notice, in the radar, the symbols were not in sorted order, not alphabetically sorted, but when I pasted, it also sorted the tickers, and it has correctly retrieved the Q symbols. Not only that, let me show you one more thing. Usually, whichever system you are using, whether QElite's radar like I am showing here or HGSI, etc., usually you will have the ticker symbol in the first column. That is the norm traders use. So you don't actually have to select the first column here. In TradeStation, for example, you may click select all. That is the key Control A. Control A. Control A and Control C. So see, I didn't have to drag and select. I just clicked Control A. It selected not only the first column but all the columns. No problem. I simply copied it using Control C or right click copy. Come back to symbol and I am pasting it. Though it had multiple symbol columns, see what happens. It only gets the ticker symbols here. What is the use of it? Let's say again, I am adding the symbol list for, let's say, Nasdaq 100 again. I want to find symbols corresponding to this Nasdaq 100 symbol. So I am Control A, select all and pressing then right click copy. So I didn't select the first column. I just selected everything using Control A. That is much easier. Go back to Q symbol, click the action button, paste. See, beautifully, it not only brings the first column tickers only, it also sorts the tickers alphabetically, and it is calculating all the data. The first row, it has not found a match. That is the only row where it has not found any match, because the first row was the index. So I am going to delete it from the input. Now I have 103 tickers and 103 symbols. How do I take them to Cube Vital Universe or Metastock? I could select them by dragging in this manner the symbol column and then copy, but I don't need to do that. There is an action button, copy, this copier symbol. I'm clicking that. Okay. I'm testing it out. What did I do? Give me 1 minute. It should be symbol copy. Let me see. I play again. Let it calculate. See, I'm still trying to fine tune it, developing it just during the weekend. It has found the 103 symbols. Let me see if the copy works. Maybe it copied. Let me go back to Metastock, symbol list, custom online data list, new, test Nasdaq 100. Give a name, click on the white space below and press using paste using Control V, and see the symbols are here. And you may save it. So now you have successfully transferred the ticker symbols into Q symbols or definitive symbols, created a list on Metastock. And if you wanted to create a symbol universe in Vital, you go to Vital, use one of the unused columns, right click, paste values, and give a name at the top, 100. Now you can do your usual processing as you do either using Q Vital or using Metastock, Q Global. There are few more fine tuning to be done. I will complete it during the weekend, and then I will send an email through the forum. This will make the job of transferring your different lists on different platforms to Q Global or Q Vital very easy. I am very happy myself also with this. Though I don't use other platforms, I do use Q Elite, and it was a lot of work to convert these stocks with liquid options into a meta stock list and Q Vital list. Now I can do it easily. That was a brief overview of the Q symbol tool. Now let's continue with the market roundup. Let's start with the global markets. Australian index AXJO. Looking at it using Q Global at a glance weekly daily template, it was and is still moving sideways. Earlier, it displayed the bullish headwind signal, recovered somewhat from there, pulled back. When it pulled back, there was a trendline support. At the trendline support, it gave a bullish flow candle. I have mentioned that the first bullish flow after a bullish headwind may give a low risk buying opportunity. That seemed to be true in this case. After that, price went up enough to give a short-term buy opportunity. Now it is at the upper edge of the range. I may not want to buy at the upper edge of a range bound instrument. In the weekly, it broke out of the memory resistance, but it is near the watermark resistance in daily. It has already gone up for 5 days. With bullish traffic light color in daily is extended for my trading style, and I wouldn't buy now. The buying opportunity was at this point. It is still range bound. Japanese index topics still range bound. It has trendline resistance, trendline support in daily. Weekly has trendline resistance. For 4 weeks, price is moving sideways, you may say. Japanese market is also range bound. China market CSI 300 index. In the last webinar, we saw the market was closed. After that, the market opened, and after the open, it gapped up, but it stopped right at the trend line resistance. The weekly color is remaining bearish. If price can fall down from here with a magenta candle in daily, that may give a go with flow short setup. As usual, instead of shorting the index, you may look for weak fundamental stocks for shorting opportunity. If we step back a little bit, we can see it is still moving sideways. Therefore, Australia, Japan, China, all these three markets are continuing to move sideways. India, Nifty 50 index. Earlier, this was bullish along with the USA market at that time. Then it started pulling back. At that time, I mentioned that if it recovers and comes down again, I look for a shorting opportunity. But it didn't come down. It sharply went up. Now it broke above the weekly trendline resistance. It is looking very bullish. The right time to buy would be when price recovered from the white direction line with a bull release signal and also bullish pressure U-turn. That would be the right point to buy either the Nifty 50 index or preferably strong fundamental stocks in Nifty. Now it is extended. It has gone up in terms of traffic light color, being bullish for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 trading days. The recent low is far, far away. Therefore, we will not buy now, though it is bullish. We would have bought in days starting from this point. Is it bullish or bearish if we step back? Now it is a bit difficult to say because it made a lower low and then it went up and made a higher high. These are called, at least I call, wild swing areas, where from lower boundary it straight up goes to upper boundary. Those may not give low risk entry opportunity, buying opportunity. When it straight up goes from lower boundary to upper boundary, the only time it would give a buying opportunity is at the lower boundary when it gave the bull release and bullish pressure. That is true for Nifty 50, the index. However, if you looked into underlying stocks when Nifty was going up, I'm pretty sure you could find multiple buyable stocks. Now, is it bullish or bearish? If we look at the recent swings, it is wild swing. If we look at a longer term view, then it is bullish. Longer term view on the weekly chart. But for swing trading purpose, I will say it is wild swing area, not bearish. UK market, it was in a range for a long time and it is continuing to be inside the range between trendline resistance and support in daily. Therefore, the global markets are more or less remaining where they were, inside range. India market is more bullish than others. That was true earlier also for many weeks and it is back to that position. Other markets, global markets, are sideways. What about USA market? Let's start with the market breadth information. I started sharing this again from the last market roundup. Now I am able to see the market breadth on Q Global. We are looking at new high low, advanced decline and up down volume, both for Nasdaq Composite and NYSE Composite. What can we see from here? New high low went up, advanced decline went up for Nasdaq but came down for NYSE, though it is still above zero for NYSE, but it came down. Up down volume went up for both of them, and the indices themselves, Nasdaq Composite and NYSE Composite, both ended bullish in color and shape. So overall, this is pretty bullish. Let's look at the market ETFs now, and for that I will use Q Elite on TradeStation, starting with S&P 500 ETF SPY. The weekly is very bullish, daily is also going up with trendline support, so we have to say it is bullish. In the last video, I looked at the E-mini futures S&P 500 and I mentioned that if E-mini futures could break out of equivalent congestion area for SPY, and we may look at the E-mini futures also. In the last video I mentioned if E-mini S&P 500 futures could break out of this congestion area, then there may be buying opportunities again, and that breakout has happened. It has broken out of the congestion area. When it was moving sideways, you could start to look for buying opportunities at the lower end of this range in individual stocks. And if you followed me on my forum site sagarnandi.com, you would know the last couple of ideas I shared were all bullish, showing that I was looking for long opportunities, not short opportunities. That was because the breakout that I was expecting from this congestion area in S&P 500, that happened. Coming back to the ETF, SPY is bullish. Nasdaq, QQQ, also bullish in weekly and daily both. Interestingly, now if you look back, the bullish headwind signals at the bottom could catch almost the very bottom. That is why Q traders always pay attention. It may not always go up, but it is always useful to at least protect profit in existing positions in the reverse direction when a headwind signal comes. That would be very useful if you kept a note of the bullish headwind in this case and traded based on that. QQQ is also bullish. Dia also bullish in weekly and daily, though Friday's candle is indecisive and the relative performance is tilting down. There is a resistance trend line, but some distance away. Small cap ETF IWM. This is very bullish. Once again, the bullish headwind could catch almost the very bottom. Bullish but extended because it is above the upper boundary, went almost straight up. Unlike SP 500, there was not much of a congestion area in the middle. The market ETFs are very bullish. The market breadth in terms of high-low, advanced decline, up-down volume, that was also bullish. What about the sectors? Let's look at the sector charts I share every week. This is from 1 week ago. At that time, the sectors changed from bearish to bullish. The red bars represent current week's performance, green bars previous week. So 1 week ago, it changed from bearish posture to bullish posture. This was 1 week ago. That week ended with 10 sectors up, 1 sector down. And this is the same comparison, week to week comparison for the current week. Here, from bullish stance, it continued to be bullish, maybe even more bullish. Over last 5 days, all the 11 sectors are up now, these red bars. If you look at the sectors at the lower end, real estate, consumer staples, utilities, they are also up, but up by relatively less percentage. Those are defensive sectors. So this week was pretty non-defensive, bullish in terms of everything, but non-defensive stocks, growth stocks might have done better. That is what we can read from this chart. And if we look at Friday's performance, that was mixed. 5 sectors were up, 6 were down, balanced. Overall, we have to say the weekly is bullish when we look at the sector graphs. If I look at more detail from QH, 5 days performance, stock advanced decline, industry advanced decline, sector advanced decline, everything very bullish, very bullish. Over 2 days also it is bullish. Friday it became mixed. If we look at Q Finder weekly picture, that shows the balance between all the Q signals, bullish versus bearish, all signals using the weekly Q Finder is very bullish. 95% of all signals bullish, 99% of strength signals are bullish, 97% of trend continuation and 69% of trend reversal. All are bullish, very bullish picture. And we saw Friday was mixed in terms of sector move. That may be true from the Finder picture also. Friday's Finder picture shows that it is still bullish overall. 64% of signals are bullish. In terms of strength signals, very bullish because of large number of gap ups. Trend continuation still bullish. However, there are number of reversal signals bearish. 87% of reversal signals are bearish. So what we may infer from it, if we are looking for shorting opportunities, we may look for them from reversal signals, then we are more likely to find shorting opportunities. But should we look for shorting opportunities? I think the time may not be there yet. We may watch what the market is doing next week and take a trade based on that, take short trade based on that only if the market is coming down. If the market is as it is or continuing to go up, then we may continue to look for bullish trades. Overall, the picture is bullish. There is no bearish signal, not enough to take short trades now. Let's review some of the trades I posted in the forum and also explain how I came to those trades. Under Q stock picks category, I share my trading ideas. On Friday, I shared a gold mining stock, IAG, IM Gold. And when I shared the post, I, as usual, shared the snapshots. The industry performance showed strength. This is a chart I created from QH. Over 5 days, gold mining industry was negative. But over 2 days, 1 day, and in real time when I shared it, all those performance percentage were bullish. And the strength or gaining of strength was more clear from this industry score from 4 to 20 to 49 to 138. I don't read the numbers, just from the staircase pattern you can see the industry gold mining was becoming stronger and stronger. That was the time to look for gold mining stocks. This is the Q Edge scorecard. Again, using the scorecard, it showed that gold mining was not only strong, it was accelerating. Acceleration was shown by the pace column, strength was shown by the score column. And you may see that I could catch exactly the day gold mining, here gold is not the commodity, gold mining industry, right on the day gold mining massively strengthened relative to other stocks. And I shared it using real-time QH, so I could analyze it anytime during the market hours. This was a snapshot as of 9:50 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Looking at that from QH, I drilled down to gold mining stocks and found this one, IAG, IM Gold, IAG. It was up by 3.8% at that time. Great valuation, short squeeze potential, excellent earnings growth, has revenue growth as well, and the industry in itself was also very strong. 100% of the peer stocks were up. Then I looked at the technical charts. IAG was breaking out of trendline resistance in weekly and daily both, after finding support at the direction lines in both daily and weekly. If you remember my sharing of unit COP UNIT earlier, it was almost a similar setup. I will review that again to show how the same pattern can be used over and over again. It was similar in terms of finding support at direction line and starting to go up, and also similar in terms of having another resistance trend line nearby after breaking out of one in daily. I still thought, looking at the industry strength and the stock's fundamental strength and that fact it found support and breaking out, it could give a buy setup. And when I shared it on this day, it was up by 3.8%. In fact, you could consider taking the long on this day itself. How did IAG close Friday? Because if you were buying it at the end of the day, then you may look at the charts at the end of the day. This was around 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you are using fine-tuned chart, you could take an early entry. How did IAG close? Let's find out. closed nicely up, went up further by about 1% more since I shared the post. You could think of buying it on Thursday itself based on the bullish flow, based on the breakout. On Thursday, we saw it broke out of a trend line also. This is a stock I shared on Friday. You could find it on Thursday also. And that reminded me of an earlier gold mining stock that I shared 15 days ago. And I followed up on that. Now it was 16 days ago. I shared it first on September 25th. That was on CDE, another gold mining stock. And on that day also, the gold mining industry was just starting to turn around from being one of the weaker one to one of the strongest with acceleration. That time I found a different stock, CDE, medium valuation but great earnings growth, great revenue growth, short squeeze potential. The industry was strong. And see how the trend line supports help. The weekly had trend line support, daily had trend line support, daily had a bullish headwind signal, daily had bullish pressure, bullish U-turn, bull release. Plenty of bullish signals at support. You could buy at the lowest possible point. I remember right on that day some trader asked me about finding stocks that are pulling back to support, and probably he was looking for some moving averages, but I explained to him that moving averages are also great, especially the yellow or white direction lines are the ones that other people use, like 50-day moving average or 200 moving average. However, moving averages have delays, whereas the trend lines don't have delay. That's why I prefer to buy at trend line support. They are always there. The moment price hits them, you know that it may find support, and if enough bullish signals are there, you may buy at a very low risk point, which I thought was the case for CDE when I shared it 16 days ago. Found support in weekly, daily with plenty of bullish signals in daily. Let's look at CDE today. Another gold mining stock like I am Gold. See, I shared the idea on this day, somewhere here in the weekly chart. The memory support lines held beautifully. Price never went down below that. Now the weekly and daily both are very bullish. And if you bought the stock or shorted the put or maybe put vertical, you have significant profit by now, especially if you shorted the put or bought the stock using synthetic. Now again, gold mining industry is becoming very strong. So if you bought it based on my CDE sharing 16 days ago, you could continue to hold. And now looking back, you can see how using the trend line support, you could in fact buy the stock probably well ahead of others. How is gold commodity, by the way? If I look at GLD, it pulled back, went up, came down for one day and went up again. If you remember the CDE chart, we could buy CDE somewhere around this area when gold was at the lowest point. And since then, gold has not come down, but we didn't buy, at least I didn't buy gold. Instead, I looked for a strong fundamental stock in gold mining industry, and I think I bought it at the most opportune time, CDE, and probably I could do that same thing on Friday using I am Gold. That was one idea that I shared on Friday, and CDE was shared earlier. Another idea that I shared on Friday was on Microsoft. How did I find Microsoft? I keep a list of the leading stocks on QLit. Microsoft is one of them. So I look at them every day. It's not on this particular desktop. This is my webinar desktop. But let's put it here. For webinar, I use a single desktop, so I put many things on one screen. For trading, I use multiple monitors. Microsoft. See the similarity. I found that Microsoft had support in both daily and weekly. On Thursday, it broke out of the trendline resistance also, and Friday it was starting to go up. You could in fact take a long position on Thursday itself as a breakout trade in a very strong stock. Why do I say it is a very strong stock? Because I checked it out with fundamentals also, Q Vital, Microsoft. While it is retrieving data for peer stocks, let me check out the industry system software. I click the cog icon. So system software as an industry is strengthening. Earlier it was relatively weaker. It is not one of the strongest on Friday. Gold mining, for example, was stronger, but still it was improving. And if you look at Microsoft, excellent valuation. Of course, excellent earnings quality, has both revenue and earnings growth for all the 3 quarters as well as all last 3 years. The industry was pretty strong in itself. Relatively, QAG is showing it was strong, not so strong, but of course in itself the industry was very strong. So it made sense to buy a stock like Microsoft. Another thing you may notice, Microsoft is at a relatively high price level, not at the lowest points. That shows that the valuation score that we use in Q systems, they are not based on price, they are based on performance of the stock. Other technical only systems will say Microsoft is overvalued, but it is not overvalued as per Q score. And that is one thing you may keep in mind. When a stock is at a pendulum high or price extreme high on Q charts, but on Q Vital it is still undervalued. That is a strong stock. You may not want to short a stock that is undervalued even when it is at price extreme or pendulum high. I avoid shorting those stocks even if the earnings is coming down, because these must be pretty strong relative to peers to be of undervalued score even when at price extreme high, shown by the band indicator here. Or if I change the template using hotkey Control Shift E, that also shows that it is at price extreme high. And looking at the regular weekly daily at a glance template, I'm using hotkeys to change back the template. I think Thursday was again the optimal time to buy it, or you could buy it on Friday also. If you bought it on Friday, you could wait for the end of the day, or you could use the fine-tune chart. This is the fine-tune chart. In the morning hours, you would use 5 minutes. That's the Q guideline. Microsoft broke out of the early range high on this candle, 5-minute bar. You could buy right at that point, put stop for the day just below early range low. Never even approached early range low. By the time it hit the pause dynamic pivot line, your profit was much more than the risk taken in the trade. You could again look at the bullish market, look at the leading stocks, find a very strong fundamental stock Microsoft and buy it using fine-tune chart or using the at a glance template. That was another idea that I shared. You can find a large number of trading opportunities using these techniques. You may do top down, bottom up, or just look at leading stocks. bullish stocks are plenty. I shared several of them. Let's try to find, I don't know if we'll find or not, any bearish setup or possible upcoming bearish setup. There may not be any bearish setup now, and even if I find bearish setup as of Friday's close, I'm not going to take it on Monday because market is pretty bullish. But just to be ready, because we saw a number of reversals on Friday, 87% Q signals, reversal signals are bearish, not bullish. Let's go to the bearish tab. Let's look for the reversal signals. Those will be either bounce or headwind or box or simply reversal setup, reversal candle. Let's look for bounce because trendline support and resistance both work pretty well. Flag the bounce, plenty of bounce down stocks. Let's look at the ones that went down on Friday by more than 3%. I'm going to close all the Q global charts so that I can open and review only these stocks. Clicking the chart icon to, okay, not Explorer. I should put my cursor on the chart application. Click the chart again. That will open all the charts. I am opening them with smart charts. That means in Power Console, in Apply Template, I selected smart chart. By doing that, if I don't see a trade setup, for example in this stock, PRSP, it is nicely coming down, but on Friday it stopped right at the trend line support. So on Friday I don't find any trade setup. I could have taken a go with flow short setup earlier, but not on Friday because on Friday it stopped right at trend line support. So I'm going to close using this top right close window or X button. Next one, LNTH. It came down from trendline resistance with bear release signal. However, there is no bearish pressure or heavy activity, so I'm not going to short it. Let's close this. TRUE. This one has high activity, came down from trendline resistance with a very bearish shape candle. I wouldn't short it on Friday. However, if I had a long position in TRUE true, I would be careful because the candle is pretty bearish. It reversed at the trendline resistance with high volume. But I may not short it on Friday. Why? Because the bounce setup is meant to be taken after sudden and sharp up or down move. So I could have taken a bounce setup at this point when it had a sharp and sudden up move before that. But in recent days, it was gradually going up. It was not a sudden and sharp move. The bounce setup is not applicable to such a market. All the Q setups are applicable to specific market conditions. Go with flow only if it is a trending market, trend following market. Headwind if the headwind signal is coming after an uptrend or downtrend. Box only applicable to sideways market, and bounce after sharp and sudden up or down moves. But here we didn't have sharp up move, so strictly speaking the bounce setup is not applicable. I may be cautious if I'm having a long position, but I cannot apply the bounce setup. If I improvise, that is a different thing, but strictly speaking there is no bounce setup because it didn't have sudden and sharp up move prior to that. So I'm going to close it. DXLG came to trendline resistance, little bit came down with a doji candle. May not be able to see it clearly. Let me extend the scale. Now you can see it better probably. Came to trendline resistance, ended with a doji candle. Again, though it came down from trend line resistance, it didn't have a sudden and sharp up move prior to that, so bounce setup is strictly speaking not applicable. If it comes down from here with a magenta candle, I may consider applying the trend following go with flow short setup. Right now there is no valid Q trade setup, so I'm going to close it. CNK Cinemark already below the lower boundary, though it came down again from the trend line resistance, already below the lower boundary. I'm not going to short it. SNDX, this looks more promising because it did have a reasonable sudden and sharp up move, came to multiple trend line resistance, reversed sharply after 3 indecisive candles. Thursday had a doji candle, Wednesday also you may say had a indecisive candle. Thursday was doji, Friday fell down with bearish flow, high pressure, bear release. Therefore, it is giving a valid bounce short setup. And if you consider the reversal from this watermark resistance, it may also be giving a box short setup, bounce short, box short. If you consider that it is having lower high, lower low, it is also probably giving a trend following short setup. But that's not entirely true because we had higher high here. If I go back to Finder, SNDX, wasn't it? Yes. Let's highlight that row. From Finder also I can see that it had heavy bearish pressure, possible trend following short setup, possible bounce short setup, possible box short setup. So in this way, even before opening the chart, I could read what are the possible trade setups or bearish signals. If you find any name with capital letter, you know those are possible trade setups. If the heading is not in full capital, then it is signal but not setup. So it is giving a possible go through, that is trend following short setup, possible bounce short, possible box short, and it is giving a signal bearish pressure. That is the orange color cells, that is last day's signal, Friday's signal. The blue cell is this week's, last 5 days. So we can see within the week it also touched a memory resistance, trend line resistance, which is probably this day. So this is giving short signal, enough short signal to consider shorting. Let's see if there was any other stock. This one, OEG, it bounced down from trend line resistance. However, already it dropped by large percentage, also very low price stocks, penny stock. So let's ignore it. Even if it was not penny stock, the move down from Thursday to Friday was very large. I'm not going to short it with such wide stop loss, close it. We are left with only SNDX. So what did we do? Market is bullish, so we decided, at least I decided, I am not going to short anything now, but looking at Finder home picture and seeing significant number of bearish reversals on Friday, I was checking out if there is any possible short setup and reversal short setup. I focused first on the bounce setups, looked at the stocks that went down by more than 3% and found only one SNDX that is looking probable. Let's look at its fundamentals then. I'm putting my cursor anywhere on the SNDX row and clicking the peer analysis button here. It's calculating the peers. Let's check out the industry biotech. Biotechs can go up suddenly or down suddenly on its own, so we don't have to always rely on biotech's industry. No harm. The industry is patchy, neither going up nor coming down. Magenta cyan, interchanging between those two colors. There was some resumption of strength on Friday shown by the pace column. That is enough reason also to buy. You could buy either based on strength in the score column last couple of days, last day, that's my preference, or you could look at last day's acceleration. It had acceleration on Friday, biotech, and if I look at the stock, overvalued, little bit of earnings growth, not much, because it is overvalued, it allows me to short. Industry is patchy and it's biotech. I may not rely so much on industry for not so big biotechs. This is not one of the bigger ones. At least I don't know about this stock. So SNDX is looking possible shorting opportunity. If we check it out using weekly daily at a glance template, the weekly candle color is still bullish but shape is very bearish. Looking at weekly daily both, my hypothesis is that it is more likely the stock will go down than it will go up. It can go up, but I think more likely it will come down, and the next support could be the trend line support here, which is also the place of the white direction line. Now, this is a demonstration of how I may look for shorting opportunities even in a bullish market, but I am not going to take them. I am going to look for only buying opportunities. Because the market is bullish, though I may keep ready some potential shorting opportunities to trade only if the market starts to weaken next week. Usually I look for stocks from Q Finder, that is bottom up analysis. After looking at the technical signals, I may check out their fundamentals and then industry. Or I could start with top down analysis. I tend to use definitive based signals systems more. However, sometimes I use Q Sonar, especially for the options trading, because TradeStation has more options related data. And remember this scan I ran, I got this list of stocks with highly liquid options. Let's try to find out some trade setup from these stocks as of Friday's close. So I'm copying the symbols, going to Q Elite Sonar Radar interest station and pasting them. We give it a few seconds or maybe minutes. It will start showing the signals under these different headings. Green is bullish, red is bearish. One stock that I noticed already from this list, remember in the scan, the last stock at the bottom was ZUO in consumer financial services. I mentioned earlier that financial sector was starting to gain strength. So I noticed ZUO and let's look at ZUO. Using at a glance, the weekly is bullish. And again, I mentioned earlier also, when the weekly drops significantly, then when it turns cyan again, backdrop turns bullish again, from that point you may start to look for buy setups. And if you look at the daily, it did drop sharply, found support. On Thursday gave a bullish flow candle. However, Thursday's candle was very indecisive. Therefore, if you were tracking this stock, you would not probably buy it on Thursday, but keep an eye on it on Friday. And if you were watching it on Friday using fine-tune chart, this is what you will find that it opened here, easily went above early range high, that was the buy point. Stop would be below early low, and by the time it came to the pause pivot level, you already had more profit than the risk. Once again, you could use the Q at a glance to identify a stock, but precisely enter it using fine-tune chart. How was Zuo's fundamentals? I didn't check that out yet. Let's check it. No, why don't I use Q symbol to find the symbol? ZUO. Play. Also ZUO, not .o. So go back to Vital. System software. I think we saw the industry was strong. Relatively, it was not so strong. I'll go back to Q edge again. Relatively, it was strong, but not very strong. And we checked that industry out when I was analyzing Microsoft. In itself, it was very strong. So it was very strong industry. Valuation is medium. Last quarter earnings growth, no data, but earlier it was positive, short squeeze potential. It's a cloud-based software company, Zuora. So cloud stocks seem to be doing well during this period. And this stock did pull back. If you tracked it, I think on Friday you could get the best buying opportunity with a very low risk, especially if you use fine-tune chart. But even at the end of the day, this is looking pretty strong. Right at the point it is starting to go up. That is what I like to trade. Turnaround candidates in terms of technicals, in terms of fundamentals, in terms of industry. So that gives me very low risk buying opportunities. If I spend a few more minutes looking at Q Elite, let's look at breakout buy candidate, and I can see several buying candidates here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to insert a blank row and sort it by price move now. Let's look at these few stocks. They went up by large percentages with breakout. WKHS, Workhorse. This gave a breakout setup in the daily chart with high volume. Not very high volume, no dot is there. But it's a well-known stock. If you were following it, you could probably take it on Friday as it broke out. But I wouldn't take this breakout myself because there was no bullish pressure or very high volume. But others may take it. Let's look at the others. EGO, also gold and silver, gold miner. This is strong. I like this kind of breakouts because very bullish candle, color, shape both in daily, weekly, and it has bullish pressure. That is a valid breakout trade for me. It should have either bullish pressure or very high volume. And we saw gold mining is strong. I shared another stock IAG on Friday in the same industry. Three more. PDD, retail, catalog. This may be at a sweet buy point. I wouldn't buy it on Friday, though it had heavy pressure and very high volume. It closed just above the trendline resistance. If it continues to go up next week, that may give a sweet buy point. And you can see again, this is the first weekly candle that turned bullish in backdrop color. That is again the point from when you may start to look for buying opportunity. I wouldn't buy it on Friday. Let's check out eBay, and then last one WPM. WPM, also gold and silver. Okay, eBay nicely broke out from a wedge pattern. Again, bullish headwind could catch the very bottom, but there are trendline resistances both in weekly, daily, so I wouldn't buy now. The optimal buy point was when? Again, that would be when the bullish headwind came or the first bullish flow after bullish headwind. In daily at that point, it gave a trend following long setup with low risk. By Friday, that risk was covered. I wouldn't buy at Friday's close, though it has heavy pressure, very high volume. Looking at the trend line resistance, I wouldn't buy. I would have bought earlier itself. Last stock that was in cyan color, WPM, gold mining industry. This also breaking out. When you see multiple breakouts are in the same industry, you may trade that industry or strong fundamental stocks in that industry more confidently. We are at 1 hour point. What is my market outlook? Market outlook is bullish. There is not enough bearish signal to even start to think of taking bearish trades. But if it comes, then I explain. If it comes means if the market starts to go down, we know how to use Q Finder, Q Elite Sonar to look for short setups. Currently, I am long, and I have no idea to start shorting right now. It may change next week, but right now, no, nothing like that. We are past the 1 hour point. I think you will love Q symbol, the new tool. Let me give some more time. Have some more time. Not give. Let me have some more time. By the weekend, I will try to, by your weekend, that's USA weekend, I will try to upload the latest version on the download page. Thanks once again for joining. I look forward to seeing you in my next session. That will be Wednesday, 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Have a great weekend. Keep safe and trade profitably. Thank you.